what's going on, everybody? My name's Kyle Hines. I'm here today with big, bad Bob Merck, one of the biggest and best powerlifters in the sport, Metal Militia chapter president from the Atlantic City Barbell. Hey, guys, please help me welcome Bob Merck. And Bob, how the hell are you doing?
Not doing bad there, Mr. Hines. How are you?
I'm doing great. So, hey, let's start talking about you. That's cool. So just like the other interview here we had with Matt McNavita, your boy, your protege.
That's it, my son.
Your son.
Yeah,
you
my
guys
baby
both
boy.
did 2 meets back to back. Did you did a third meet before that one?
So, yeah, we did the 2 big ones back to back, but I was going to do my first unlimited meet out in Lake Erie, and I had never benched in a band shirt before. So I went up to, what was it, Nationals or whatever. I drove out there. I took 1 attempt in the band shirt. Right. I just wanted to go through the process of like, what is it like to warm up? How is it different? What's the judging going to be like, before I jump into a relatively big meet. So I went up there and just took a 905 bench and called it a nice day and had fun and long ride. But at least that way I was comfortable going out to Lake Erie knowing that I've done it before.
Yeah, for sure.
So 3 meets in 3 months, basically.
So
it's not new for me.
Now, so I know where you bench 905s. That wasn't the summer bash. So that was in Erie, and then the summer bash was also in Erie, right?
No, I was in Lake George for the 905.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, that was Bill's meet. Okay,
yeah, it was Crawford's meet. Yeah,
Crawford's meet.
I thought it was Nationals. I can't remember the name of these meets.
Well,
I've done so
many.
Yeah. I think I've done like 70. I've done like 70 meets. They all blend together.
Yeah, dude, that's fucking awesome. Okay, so you went out to see Crawford, and that was, I think, in April, and you threw on a band shirt and you benched 905.
No, it wasn't April. It was like right before. I want to say like, was it April or May? Whatever. Yeah, whenever it was.
I think it was early April. I might be wrong. I was out to sea. I was in South Africa.
Yeah, so. Will was judging. It was a good time. My buddy Alex was already going out there. He needed a handler, so I'm like, yeah, I'll handle you. I'll just be wearing a shirt when I do it.
Yeah,
so
sure. I got you.
One of those type of deals. So yeah, we knocked that out, and then we got ready for the meet in July. And that's it. Yeah.
So that's cool. So that wasn't a huge meet where you went all in, so that you went back to Atlantic City Barbell Club, and you just got right back into training, didn't skip a beat. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, that was just a scheduled training day. That's why I only took the 1. I didn't want to push it because we had a couple big ones in a row, and we're stupid enough to do 2 big meets in a row. You gotta think ahead and try and plan a strategy.
Well, this is something that I tell a lot of the younger guys, that they don't want to do a meet until they can hit a PR on like a national record, or they don't want to compete until they can be, one of the best, or they do this big, long training cycle, 5-6 months, and they don't want to do a meet anywhere in the middle before they go to this big meet. And I think that's a mistake. I think you should hit little meets and go and play with it. And it doesn't mean you have to go nuts.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's different lifting in your basement or your garage or your gym versus lifting in front of judges. And a lot of times, like if you do a Metal Militia meet,
hold on a second.
Some issues.
Never mind. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you do a militia meet, you got some issues. You can talk to the judges, figure out like, hey, what was wrong, and then you finish out that training cycle with a little bit more strategy. If your butt comes up, how are you going to fix it? You're not locking your weight. How are you going to lock your weight? Mm-hmm. You weren't anticipating a longer pause on your chest. Well, adjust to it. So yeah, I think it's a big mistake not getting out there and throwing yourself in front of judges as much as possible. Plus it's fun. Hang out with your friends. That's what powerlifting is really all about.
Well, that's it too, right? Yeah. And as soon as this stuff stops becoming fun, then I can't find a reason to do it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I love to go out, and I like to go and get in front of judges that I'm not used to. I like to go to places that I'm not used to being. And I like to stay in a hotel the night before even a small meet, because all that stuff plays into it. You know what I mean? You're eating on the road. It's completely different, and it gets you ready for when it comes time to do the big day that you're doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's practice how you play.
That's right. So then we went to Summer Bash, right? Yeah. Rob Farrell, Lake Erie, and you did a full meet.
Yep.
And you opened with what squat?
I opened with 1,075. hit it, called for depth, so I ran it back. Hit it again. Yeah. No, I fell forward actually in my first 1075. Now that I think about it, it wasn't called for depth. I stood up with it and I bobbled.
I think I remember that. I remember that.
I tried to get a little close and personal with Bobby Fields out, the head judge.
Who doesn't?
But yeah, I just wanted to say hello.
Speaking of Bobby Fields, happy birthday, Bobby Fields! A couple days ago, happy birthday, Bill Crawford.
Oh, yeah, Crawford is today.
Yeah, 50, both of them. Yeah, man, that's cool as shit. So you bobbled at the top with on your first attempt, right?
Yes.
11:05.
No, 10:75. Came back and got it on my second.
Okay, sorry, I got a lot on my mind up here.
Yep.
10:75, and then you went back on your second and you hit it.
Yep.
When you got done with your first one, you bobbled. Sometimes that can play into your confidence a little bit, right? Did that a factor for you?
I mean, years ago it would have, but now it's like, the only decision I had to make was, am I going to go up or am I going to stay the same? Because I'm looking at, there's a lot of good lifters there.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at, Mason and Delafave. Well, Mason missed his opener and he was the projected main threat. So I'm like, all right, well, he missed it. Let me run mine back. That was the thought process.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's not that you were in fear of bombing or anything like that. You knew you could go more. It's just playing it safe, playing the game. Yeah, cool.
Get one on the board. Yeah.
All right. So your second one, you hit. You were happy, confident. Yep. And then for your third, where did you go?
I think I went 11:35. Felt like it was a good squat. Got the up call from my guy. Smoked the rep way better than my second. Got some reds for depth. It was, looked good to me, but I'm not sitting in the judge's chair. So it was a tightly judged meet. They weren't giving stuff away. I don't have their perspective, but either way, it was close. And
I thought the judging throughout that meet was consistent and it was fair. And that's why I said the other one. It wasn't like we were killing people, but it also wasn't like we gave anything away. Everybody that got a lift there earned it. I walked around to every team that was there and personally talked to them, and I asked them all independently, "Hey, man, how do you think the judging went?" Judging was phenomenal. We had great.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was awesome. Good judging.
Yeah. Okay. So what? Yeah. So you didn't get your third. You were looking at Mason? Did he get his third?
He did. He got his opener on his third. So he was in the meet with lower 11s, and so he was ahead of me. And a 10:75 squat for me is not a good day at the office. Sure. So that was put me at a little bit of a disadvantage. But it turns out, as we keep talking, it ends up being a good thing. I turned a negative into a positive a little bit later.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes when you don't kill yourself on that squat, you can, wait until maybe you hit a bigger bench or wait till it hits the floor, So so what were you wearing? What's your squat suit? What do you like to wear?
I was wearing a Titan Boss, Super Boss actually, and Super Boss briefs. So a full Titan kit, briefs and a suit.
Do you wear a lot of different gear in training throughout a cycle? Do you wear one piece of equipment the whole time?
I used to wear a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think I'm learning that's a mistake. Like you start, and you see this a lot with younger lifters. They want to constantly change the gear to fix their problems, when the reality is you need to fix yourself and master the gear. There's no magic. And Titan sponsors me. I shouldn't say this, but there's no magic shirt or suit.
Sure.
There is a suit that might be better for you. Yeah. A shirt that might be better for you, but ultimately it's in mastery of the suit. You could put me in a metal or a Titan or an Inzer and, plus or minus 5 or 10%, I want to squat the same at this point. So really a lot of younger lifters need to focus on learning how to use the gear they have and not trying to find the magic suit. Plus you save yourself a lot of money that way. There's so many people out there buying 10 bench shirts when really what they need to do is learn the shirt they have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
I benched in one Phenom for 4 or 5 years. And that was actually a Bobby Fields old shirt, hand me down. And I love that shirt. And, they're like, they get worn out, they lose the pop. Well, I got stronger. It all worked. I kept hitting PRs in it, and I got a couple other shirts laying around, but I don't really use them, So speaking of shirts, we're done with the squats. You went into the bench. What did you bench? Oh, no. What were you wearing?
So this was the first time I wore one of Pharrell's shirts. The band shirt. I don't even know what they're called because they were kind of new to me.
Sure.
I hadn't really been training in it much because I still am primarily focused on the WPO. So that's a traditional, poly meet. Yeah. So I was training in the band shirt every third week just to try and learn it a little bit because I wanted to do this meet because, good lifters are going to have a fun time, but I couldn't place the priority there. So I think at this meet, it was only my 6th time in a band shirt, including the one meet that I did out
No shit.
at Lake George. Yeah, I just didn't have a lot of time.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you performed poorly for your 6th time in a band shirt.
No, I went 3 for 3 on bench. You know, this is a tradition I have. When I squat poorly,
yeah,
I tend to force myself to make it up on bench. Same thing happened out at Lake Erie last year. I missed my 1200 squat.
yeah,
Same thing. I got called for depth, and then I turned around and I benched a PR there as well.
Yeah.
So I guess one day I'll put them all together in the same day. You'll see a monster total.
I'm sure we will. I am 100% confident in that, man. So what did you open with your bench?
I open at 900.
Well, okay. That's nothing
Smoked
to see.
it. Yeah. It was fast.
So as soon as they handed that weight to you, were you just like, oh, fuck yeah?
Yeah, I knew I had that. The 900 was an easy opener for me.
There's nothing like that feeling.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, oh, and you get it down to your stomach and you're just like,
yeah, it was lightning. I had and I actually had, so like Keith Odell and his squad out there, because I was out alone when I was at the previous meet, they handled me at that meet.
Yeah.
And they did a great job. So I see them standing around and I'm like, hey guys, real like handoff. So they took care of me again, and they got some magic in their handoffs because I guess they're used to training in those shirts and my guys aren't. So they dropped that thing perfect to the point where it was like just down and up. It was.
Oh, that's phenomenal. All right, second attempt. What'd you hit?
So I went right to 945 from that. I figured that was a good, 40 pounds, like a normal jump for me. Yeah. Went to 945. I figured that would keep me competitive in the meet. I'm looking at Mason, and he hit his opening bench. He opened 865, 870 or something like that. So I gained a little ground on him, but I know he's a better deadlifter than me also, which you got to factor in. Like I'm playing that game. Yeah. So I figured 945 would extend my lead enough and give me a chance to hopefully swing at something on the third. And same result. It was fast bench. Easy enough.
Okay, we're done here. Yeah. All right. And then, so what was the big bench?
So that was a 40-pound PR, which is nothing to sneeze at. So I'm like, all right, so we're already playing with house money. So now I'm got the calculator out on the phone, and I'm looking, and I'm giving Bruce Mason a couple different deadlifts, seeing like, what do I think he will pull? I actually predicted it. I put him in at 825. He pulled 825.
There it is.
So it worked out really well, my math, because I'm following his training. We're buddies. That's the cool thing about these meets is, I want to beat Bruce Mason, but I also want Bruce Mason to perform to the best of his ability. Same thing with, Delafave's out there and a couple of the West Side guys, and obviously Matt. So like, I don't want to win because someone has an off day. Like that's not the way you want to do it.
A gentleman, anyhow. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyhow. Yeah.
So I'm looking. I mean, the way I figured it, I had to take at least a 985 bench, but there's no way I'm going to call 985. It's not going to happen. Like I'm not going to call a 985 bench. You're that close. You just swing for the fences, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we called for a 1,000-pound bench, and figured worst case scenario, it'd be the most I ever missed.
Well, back in the day, before everyone was mentioning band shirts, people would put 1,000 pounds in their hand, and then they would write up a thing. I did a 1,000-pound tempt. I attempted 1,000. Yeah. So that's awesome. And so most you've ever had in your hands by a long shot, right?
Yeah.
And so
it was not in the plan either. Like the plan went out the window at squats. So now we're like, now it's a new plan. We are the A team. We are trying to get a new plan to come together. We are improvising.
Yeah.
So
So they put that in your hands. Was there flight or fight? Well, what happened? Like what were you thinking?
Honestly, if you watch the video, the funny thing is, and it's a shame someone got injured, a couple lifters before me, and then Delafave right before me dropped the bar. And I look at my wife, and she's over there like videoing, looking ill. So she sees the weight on the bar, she sees the number. So I was pretty confident. You actually see on the video, I throw a nice little wink out, and I'm like, I got this. I was pretty confident, which is rare for me. I'm not normally the most confident lifter on the platform, but I kind of went into that bench knowing I had it.
Yeah, that's a good feeling.
It was a good feeling, which is rare. I need to get that feeling more.
Yeah, well, I think you're on that way, man. I think you're headed. So when you locked it out and you heard call, you had to go fucking nuts, man.
Yeah, it was. You know what? It was a relief because I felt like I was back in the meet.
Yeah, you're back in the game. Yeah, man.
So now the downside is, and we'll talk about this later as we get to the WPO. But as I'm stabilizing that weight, I felt some weird shifting in my hip. And it turns out like I'm going to be dealing with a little bit of a hip injury for a minute here. I got to go meet with the orthopedic this week.
Oh,
but yeah, we definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's part of the game. It's part of
I know
what we do. Yeah, but to hurt your hip benching, I'm like, man. But that just goes to show like how much pressure there is as you're handling that much weight in the band shirts.
Yeah.
Because when I bench in a band shirt, I put my feet out wide, which is not normally how I bench. When I bench in a poly, I tuck my feet behind me, create a bigger arch.
Yeah.
So I think having my feet out wide as I go to stabilize, there's more pressure in the hips. And you know, I felt it, but it didn't really think anything of it. I'm like, oh, I'm like tweak my hip.
Yeah.
Didn't really dawn on me until I was warming up to deadlift that we were going to potentially have some issues.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
you know, I've been fortunate enough to be around Will Barati benching big weight a lot. And to watch him when the slightest movement, when you handle the world's biggest weights, the slightest movement, the slightest incorrection, it can really be catastrophic. And it might be like that where you don't feel it immediately, but then a week later you can't move your leg, you can't move your arm, you know. So you handle those big weights, you better have your shit together, you know.
That's it.
There's no time to learn.
Bigger the weights, the smaller the margin of error.
Yeah, man, absolutely. You know, and the spotters, I want to talk about those. Not that you need them for the bench, but the spotters at that meet were amazing. They were so good at noticing that little, oh, that guy's off the bubble, catch it. Like very few people got injured or very few.
They were fantastic. Yeah,
absolutely.
Nothing hit the racks, nothing hit the lifters. Everything was caught and put away. They did a great job.
Yeah,
I actually reached out to Rob and told him that. I'm like, pass this along. You know, I can only shake their hands, but like they should know that they did a fantastic job. And it's, you know, they were loading a lot of big weights.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you know, loading, unloading, reloading.
Yeah, those guys worked their asses off.
Yes.
You know, I noticed that as these meets are progressing with the Metal Militia, that not only is the spotting's getting better, the judging's getting better, the loadings, there's, you know, less people are making any mistakes. It's a great progression to watch, and the sport as a whole is getting better, you know, and our meets are getting better, and it's fun to be a part of. You know?
Absolutely.
All right. So 1,000 pounds. Man,
yeah, 1,000 pound bencher.
Yeah. What were you, number 14?
Or I think 13? I was the 13th. Yeah,
13th,
lucky number 13. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 13. Yeah, I was 13. Awesome. I think I was only the second guy to do it in a full power meet, though.
That's impressive. That's really impressive. So that's
normally it's only bench only guys benching.
Yeah, those big fat guys that I love so much. Yeah, those guys that shit on squatting, you know what I mean, but can't tie the
I say this as I'm about to go bench only for the next 6 months or so while I heal up. But
yeah, you're right. So that's cool. So then we're on to deadlifts.
Yep.
What did you wear for your deadlift suit?
So for deadlifts, I like less gear.
Yeah.
So I wear like a looser pair of Boss briefs.
Yep.
They're almost like unnecessarily loose because I got to be able to get to the bar. And I actually wear an old regular Boss suit from like the early 2000s. It's
okay.
It's from a super heavyweight. It's just strap. I mean, I can slide the thing on and off, but it's just to get a little bit of strap support. And I don't.
How tight do you go with your straps?
Not even super tight. For deadlift, it's more like I pulled pretty decently raw. For deadlift, it's more like if I'm in bad position, the lift is over, and if I'm in good position, like it's all about position for me when I deadlift. Yeah. So I less gear. Magnavita's the same way. He doesn't even wear briefs. He just throws his suit on, and the two of us are the same way. If we can get in good position, we're going to have a good lift. Tight gear tends to wrench our position a little bit.
It's those bigger guys that have a hard time, you know, putting things real tight and all that. You know what I mean? They're putting that gear on. Yeah. So what'd you open with?
So it's funny. Like I told you, my hip shifted and I was hurting.
Yeah.
So I started warming up in the deadlift room, and I'm like, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to complete a successful deadlift.
Yeah.
Like it was pretty bad at that point. And so I opened with 225 or whatever.
I was your cheerleader there.
I took a token. Essentially, I just asked the judges, like, whatever you want to put on, you call it. Just keep it something I can stiff leg.
Yeah.
So like,
and then the thing is,
the thing is, it was such by that point people had bombed out, and there's not a lot of full power lifters left. So like, I opened at 225 in full gear. Yeah. Because I knew that my next attempt was going to be coming right around. So I opened at 225, if you want to count that, and then I went to 710. And I went to 710 because I'd been calculating like the Wilks all day.
Yeah.
And I was pretty confident that a 710 would put me ahead of where Delafave and Mason could get to.
Yeah.
So that's what I think that 710, was put me up to like a 719 gloss or something like that.
Yep.
And so it was up there.
Yeah. I recommend to people to learn how to do those calculations and how to understand that, because powerlifting at some point no longer becomes, hey, I want to do the very best I can do. It comes, hey,
yes,
I want to start winning. And
that's why
you
I
got to
like
know the
these
game.
Meets. Yes. Yeah. That's my biggest thing. That's another thing I tell people, like, you got to get involved in these type of meets. You don't have to win them. You can be 10th, but like try and be 8th next time. Like it is, see, I come from an athletic background. The reason I got into powerlifting was like, I was getting too old to play college football and they gave me 4 years of eligibility. They ran out. Yep. So like at first powerlifting was like, how much can I lift? But that didn't really like fulfill. It wasn't as fulfilling. Right. So I would much rather total less in a strict meet, but win than total more in a loosely judged meet that I can't be proud of with no one else there. I might as well lift in my basement if I just want to move heavy weights. So that's why you're always going to see me and my guys just try and find big meets and find competition.
Yeah. The bigger the meet you go to, the better chance there's going to be somebody in your weight class, and go at it, go killing it.
Yeah. You might have to travel to find competition, but it's worth it.
It is worth it. It is worth it.
And that's also how you learn. You learn from doing those type of meets and having those type of experiences.
And by going to big meets, you meet other lifters, you meet great lifters. And then you get better, like somebody can walk up to you and be like, hey, did you watch that deadlift? You'd be like, yeah, your hips aren't down, or whatever that is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and I tell people all the time, like the lifters and lifts that you remember, it's not because of the numbers. Your numbers fade. Everyone loves Chuck Vogelpohl. At least I remember watching him, and Chuck was the man. Well, his best total is 26.05, which is great. But like, there's a lot of people total 26.05.
Yeah.
But he did it at the early WPOs. He did it in a grand fashion. He did it to win. So you remember that moment when he's got his flame beanie on, bleeding all down his face. So like, it's the moment at the specific meet because everyone was there. He was the best man that day.
Absolutely.
So I'm a big fan of that aspect of powerlifting.
The reason I love powerlifting so much is because I love watching guys like you, like an old friend, do his best and play the game and cut and figure out ways to win. Yeah. That warms my heart. And I also love watching these kids like Giacomo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Young little kid, he has to stand on blocks to bench, and and he's going, and he's got just a bar. I love the whole gambit of the powerlifting.
He's a good kid. He always like chimes in on my posts, making fun of me and all. He's great. Love that guy, and his dad Jimmy's funny. My little guy's about to do his first meet. He was supposed to do it, then COVID hit. So Wyatt's looking to do something within the next few months.
Wyatt's going to have the best hair in powerlifting, hands down.
Oh, he is going to have the best hair in powerlifting. It's not even close.
Yeah.
For starters, he has hair in powerlifting. You're already ahead of the game. Yeah,
that's cool as hell, man. So that's awesome. I do want to come back and talk about your family a little bit, talk about your gym. But what was your last deadlift? Was it?
I swung for the fences with I think it was 760. I actually got pretty closer than I expected.
Yeah, it was over the knee.
The way I felt. Yeah, it was. Honestly, if I went into that lift believing I could do it, I might have been able to execute it. It was close.
Yeah.
And that would have been for like a 2850 total or something. That's why I took it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately missed, but still 2785, I think, is where I ended up.
Yeah.
And not the biggest total of the day, because I think Mason went like 2820 or 2825, but he outweighs me by quite a bit. So the biggest coefficient of the day.
Yeah, and you walked away the victor. You walked away with a medal.
That sick belt, and then that Flavor Flav bench chain, which I love.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
It's like ridiculous. It's hanging down in the gym right now, and then Rob made those cool coins.
Yeah,
and the 1,000-pound bench club coin, which is just a cool idea.
Yeah,
and then I had that in my possession for about 6 hours until Wyatt decided that he wanted it.
Yeah,
so now it's cool. And now it's on his nightstand, so it's doing him more good. It's so cool. He talks about it, and he has this coin. He calls it his rare coin. So I'm like, yeah, all right, cool.
It is a rare coin. He's absolutely
that's what I'm saying.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's why he wanted it. He collects stuff that's rare. So he's like, I want this.
Yeah. Well, he's right. That's phenomenal, man. Yeah. So you finished up that meet,
Yep.
and now you have your eyes set on the WPO, which was 1 month after killing it there and killing yourself, a slight injury, right?
Yeah.
And you're looking at going up against, again, the best lifters in the world. Not some bullshit meet. You have to fly to it, right? You got to get your whole family in an airplane, get down to Florida. I mean, shit, you're up to your ass in gators.
Yeah. Find a way to travel with all of your gear on a Spirit flight that only allows 40 pounds of gear. Because I'm not paying for another bag. Like, we're gonna make it work.
Yeah.
So
come here, Wyatt. This is your squad suit.
Oh yeah, I had my briefs tucked in my carry-on because I'm like, these are heavy. We're gonna put them in the carry-on.
You're that guy, huh?
Yeah. I would have worn the bench shirt on the plane if I needed to.
Yeah. There we go. No, I can go through security like this.
Yeah, whatever it takes. Yeah.
Whatever it takes. So, right. So, how were you feeling going into the WPO?
I can talk about it now. Honestly, the reason you didn't see a lot of training between the two meets, I was pretty beat up.
Yeah.
The hip thing started to affect my stability when I would pick. I couldn't stabilize any weight, and it was a real gamble. My first movement because I was shaky everything I did.
Sure.
But I wasn't going to drop out just because that's not my style. No. Plus, you work hard, you qualify. I'd actually adjusted my goals. My main goal for this meet was to just stay qualified and stay in the loop for these big WPO meets. Because if I do that, which I did, then I could take a little downtime for the first time. And anyone who knows me knows I don't take a lot of downtime.
No, I don't know. I'm like
6 or 7 meets a year kind of guy. And
yeah.
I have a reputation for, that's why no one wants me to handle them. I'm like, yeah, I'll handle you. I'll also deadlift. And then I'm there and Dave Garth's like, do you want to squat? And I'm like, well, I don't have any gear. He's like, we've got briefs. And I'm like, no, I'll squat. So I'm like,
I know of you doing that coming up to like Worlds up there or whatever meet. I'm going to come up. I'm just going to come up, say hi. And then I got a boogie. Okay. I'll do a full meet. All right.
Yeah.
I just do a quick full meet.
I've built a reputation for doing that. So I know, but now, maybe it's a blessing in disguise that I'm a little banged up because I'm going to have to take some forced rest and work on some weaknesses and,
absolutely.
Coach my son Magnavita up and get him ready for the next big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So did you train at all between the meets?
I did, but just lightly.
Yeah.
I just did enough to make sure I could get through. I didn't have a bad meet, but it just, I wasn't sure that I wanted to hurt myself in between.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it because there was dramatic. You had a lot of drama on the platform.
Yeah, I took a little spill.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So let's talk about it. That was your opener?
No. So my opener it was 10:52. And which should be easy for me. But like I said, I couldn't stabilize anything. So my opener, as I'm coming down, I barely make it 6 or 8 inches and I'm losing the bar of my back. I just called for them to take it.
Yeah.
Like I knew something was wrong.
Right.
So I go back, I look at the video. I can't figure out what's wrong. So normally I can tell what's wrong.
Yeah.
So we take 10:52 again. And I got some nerves going into it because I am like in a bad place there. Warm-ups actually went fine, which, so I go out, I take 10:52 again. Not a pretty squat. Okay. I was still losing it a little bit on the way down. I was a little bit on my toes. I was, it was a very inefficient squat.
Yeah.
But I got the up call, hit a pretty easy looking 10:52. Mentally, it was tough. Yeah. But so I'm in the meet. I think I called for like 11:07 or 11:03, whatever the kilo is. Yeah. And that was going to be my third. And I actually felt kind of confident. I'm like, all right, well, if I can gut out 10:52,
right,
50 more pounds won't make that much of a difference.
Yeah.
So then I'm going into my third. I actually stand up a little bit better.
Okay.
I hit the hole pretty clean. Yeah. I come up. I would say I'm 100% of the way up, but I'm unstable. So I'm waiting for the rack come in. Then I start to lose it on my right side. It starts to drift down my back.
Yep.
And sort of like my wrist gets rolled and it starts to go.
Yeah.
So now I'm doing that thing, that dangerous fall.
Yeah.
The dangerous fall where your body starts to fold in half backwards.
Yep. Yep.
We've all seen those like bad. You see the lifter get totally sprung back and they tear their quads. And I'm having like life flash before my eyes. Like, oh no, this is it. I'm going. I'm trying to hang with the bar. And then next thing you know, their back spotter hits me with like a Sparta kick.
Yeah.
shooting me forward. When I say shooting me forward, anyone who saw it, like I go flying out from under that bar.
Yeah.
I Superman my way over the mono. I land face first right in front of the judge. And at the time, I'm thinking, like, what the hell? But then when I get the chance to look at it, like what he really did was like as I'm bending, he got me out of there.
Yeah.
So like now I'm suffering like some bangs and bruises, but like I'm still walking. My legs are attached. The freaking spotters caught it.
No
1,100 something pounds. Yeah, they caught it.
Never hit the chains, huh?
No, never hit the chains.
Wow.
That's how good. Yeah, those spotters are incredible. I mean, Robert Bain is like the main guy, and they literally practice catching dump squats. Like they train for spotting. Like we train for powerlifting.
Yeah.
And that's why like I'm like, how did you think to do like what your reaction to like kick me out of the way? He's like, well, that's what we do. We got to save the lifter first.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm glad you practice. Like, glad I know that guy. Because I mean, like I said, I took a little bit of a spill and I tweaked my back a little bit, and it certainly did not make my hip that was already aggravated feel better. But like lived to fight another day.
Lived to fight another day. Man, that is phenomenal. Yeah. That's phenomenal. Holy shit. So you had a good solid pick. You hit the hole, you felt strong, you stand up.
Yeah.
And probably because of that hip, you were just
I'm shifty. I can't stabilize on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so you do a swan dive onto the platform, you know?
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Keep the audience entertained, you know.
Yeah, it's for the people. It's for the people. Did you ever hear a rack call or no?
No, I didn't get it because, like I said, they're not giving the rack calls there until you're stabilized. They hold the rack call there.
Yeah.
So and I didn't deserve one. I wasn't stabilized. So no, is what it is.
Yep. Yeah, cool.
On the board though, I'm on the board with a 1052.
What does that do to your mind? What does it do to you?
That messed with me a little bit. Cause like I said, I'm feeling pretty beat up at this point.
Yeah.
Like now everything hurts. My hip hurts, my back hurts. Like I smashed my knee a little bit on the mono itself. So you know, I had a little pity party for myself for about 5 minutes where I'm like, this is you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit. Okay.
But so the way those meets run, I mean, they're so damn fast that you don't get to be upset long because you've got 45 minutes and you're benching.
Well, that meet started at noon.
Yeah.
Right. And you were done at what time? Like 5?
4:30, I believe.
Fuck.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a full meet. That's not just,
Yep.
You know, there's a thing though, you're getting rid of the bench only, which does take a little time. Yeah. But to be able to move through squats that fast in general with those big lifters,
it's insane.
Yeah. So,
but then you get done squats and they're like, all right, guys, 45 minutes and we're benching.
Yeah.
So that's all you got.
Yep. And how many people were lifting there?
20 lifters, I believe.
20 lifters. You know, so 2 flights of 10?
Nope, 1 flight.
1 flight. Wow.
Yep. And I liked it that way. It runs so fast, it was nice. And so there was like 20 lifters. They burnt right through, and then they give you a set time to warm up for your bench. You've got, I think they said an hour originally, but like I said, I only had 45 minutes because I had to get out of my squat gear and I was all pissed off. So I had to go and get that out of my system.
Go have a pity party of 1 and go.
Absolutely. Yeah. So then it's time to bench. So you don't get to stay mad. You got to wash it off and try and get in the meet, stay in the meet.
Undoubtedly, you know, your nerves are shaking. You're a little bit achy. Yeah, you don't feel physically great. There's no way to feel physically great after hitting the deck.
Yeah, and I couldn't arch to save my life, which I'm like, oh great. Like this is I couldn't set up on the bench very well.
I imagine you were wearing the same squat suit for the squat that you wore at Pharrell's meet, right?
Yeah.
But you weren't we're not wearing a band shirt. So what were you
wearing?
Right,
no, this is probably I was wearing it's a Titan. It's like a super katana, but I have a stretchier material in the chest. If anyone remembers the old Titan F6, they're like an older shirt. Yeah. But I had them make it for me, and if anyone ever wants to try or give me a call and talk to me about it, it's a good shirt. Yeah. It's got super katana sleeves, so real stiff sleeves like an overkill. Yep. You know, like picture the black overkill in the sleeves. Yeah. But so then the chest,
you can really set up a shelf on that.
Absolutely. Yeah. But the chest is more like an SDP.
Okay, so you don't have the stopping power, right?
No, you don't have the stopping power, but you got a lot of stop in the sleeves. So if you hit that groove right, and it's got a big collar. I had them put a bigger collar on it. Okay. So it's got enough stopping power, but a lot of pop, which makes it easier to touch because I'm a slow bencher. Mm-hmm. And like if I take a super katana down,
slowest bencher on the face of the earth.
I can probably
watch you start, go make a pot of coffee, have it, come back and watch you finish.
My first 800 bench was 27 seconds from the start command to the rack command.
I read War and Peace in that time.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? People have been giving me crap about it for years, but I'm like, I don't know, I can hold my breath a long time. Like it looks worse than it is. Like I'm fine. I'm still, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I actually practice holding my breath under breath. Like so when I do a lot of my speed work, I'll do 3s and 5s on the same breath. It's just practice. It's one more thing you can control. You know, you don't need that oxygen stuff.
You don't need it.
No, just practice holding your breath and performing when you're losing it.
That's fucking crazy. Yeah. All right. So that's your bench shirt. So you're banged up. You got your shirt on, right? And so you're warming up. How are the warm-ups going?
Warm-ups went pretty well. They went fast. I was a little behind, like I said, in warm-up. So I'd like jump in and catch up a little bit. So I'm working up a sweat as I try and, you know, get my way through it.
Yeah.
But they went all right. And I think Magnavita and I were opening up together. We did that on purpose. I think it was like 7:38.
Yeah.
Or something like that. We wanted to be back to back because we were sharing handlers. So
sure.
So I'm like, all right, let's keep everything rolling here. We'll take the same opener. It'll be good luck. Because last year I bombed out on bench to the WPO. It was like the first time I bombed in forever. So I needed this. Like this was big. I opened nice and light, absolute rocket of a bench with 738. Very easy.
That's one thing I always like when I would bench with some of the guys from our gym and we were close. I always liked opening with the same weight. You know, the first guy goes in, you feel like there's good mojo on the board. Like, all right, man, here we go. We're gonna get this shit. Let's go.
And I know that I can wrap my wrists and be ready because there's no turnaround time.
Right. Yeah.
So like I know if I'm number 2 behind Magnavita with the same weight, like as he's racking it, I'm wrapped and ready. It takes that anxiety. I'm not waiting and pacing and whatever. I'm ready to rock.
Yeah, and so it's nice too for the loaders. The loaders appreciate that shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so you hit your first one, no problem.
Yep.
Confidence is getting a little restored. Feeling a little better.
I jumped to a conservative. I actually jumped to 760, whatever kilo something on purpose because I did my math ahead of time and really I wanted the total over 2,500, which isn't a huge total for me, but at this point, like I'm just like I said, trying to stay in the loop. I think it was my 13th total over 2,500.
Yeah.
And I knew roughly what I could pull, so I take 760. It goes equally as well as my 736 or 738, whatever the heck it was.
Yeah.
And so then on my third, I just did some math and figured out what would put me back on the podium, like what would put me into third place.
Yeah.
So I took 799.
Okay.
I know 799 point something, but you know, I'm playing the game, whatever. It's what I needed.
Yeah. Yep.
And I was actually a little bit shocked. I hit the bench clean as could be. And I got one side red for my butt coming up.
Uh-huh.
And I got one side red for my arm not locking. And I mean, I guess I can't see my butt. I thought my arm was locked. It looked pretty damn clean to me. But again, it's really tight judging.
Sure.
And the judge, because I'm going to ask questions, it was Bev McDaniels from Texas. Super, super strict judge, especially those Texas judges. They're crazy. Crazy good. There's the same strict way for everybody. Yeah. But she said, like, right as I locked it out, she said, like, I skipped. So, like, as I locked it out, my butt just briefly lost contact. Shit. And I do that sometimes, like, as you're locking, you get that, like, last little jolt of energy at the lockout.
Yep.
And it was just a split second, but she caught me on it. And good on her. It's good judging. She would have caught anyone else too. But at that point, I'm like, all right. It didn't put me back in the top 3. So I just took a couple of deadlifts to end out the day. Nothing crazy.
Yeah. So today, yeah. And that's okay. That's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing to come back and hit big lifts. And for the most part, very clean. But then, you know, after that, what did your same squat suit, right? Loose.
Yep.
Same shit, right?
I pulled, I think it was, I needed to pull 688 to go into the 2,500s.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to open with it. So my opener was, I don't even know. I'd have to look at it. It was like 630 or so. I opened basically with whatever would put me in position
Yeah.
to have a nice jump to 688.
Okay.
So, had I hit my third bench and put myself back on the podium, we would have been playing a different game. I probably would have opened like 670, then tried to go into the set, just play that whole game. But I knew I didn't have a big pull in me with my hip. So missing that bench, I just decided I was going to take 2 pulls.
Yep.
And then pass my third, and like I said, live to fight another day.
Yeah, man.
So
that's awesome.
I still, I had a decent total. I still finished top 5.
There's nothing to sneeze about, especially after for the beating of the meets, the 3 meets back to back, the little injury, the unstableness, all that shit. It's really something to be proud of. I'm proud of you. I know the club's proud of you, man. You're doing awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I've been higher up at these meets, but I've also bombed. So it's like,
yeah, right. It's been a while since you bombed.
Sometimes you just got to go out there. And it was a tough training year for everyone with COVID and all the craziness. So like, I'll take this as a step in the right direction.
So I want to talk about, speaking of training, I want to talk about your wife, the saint, the guru.
Oh, yes.
The whole
she
thing.
She deals with it all, man.
She's amazing. When I was there, welcomed me right into the house. You guys all welcomed me right in. It was wonderful. Yeah. And, she has all you gorillas, you stinky man, piles of beef running down there, being damn fools in that basement all the time. So God bless her, man.
Yep. Yeah. She's like the team therapist, the team mom, the team doctor, the team baker, the team cook. And I mean, I don't think she knew, over 10 years ago when she's like, you should just build a gym in the basement. I don't think she knew what I heard, because what I heard was, let's start a powerlifting crew. I think she just meant stop spending so much time at the gym, but she's embraced it and she lets me have everyone here, and she's a saint. Everyone should be so lucky as to have a Stacey Merck in their life.
Yeah. She offered me food and I didn't take it because my stomach was in knots and I regret it because I know it's good. You know what I mean? You got the twins and Layla's
they just turned 17. They're going to be seniors.
That's so amazing.
Yep.
Layla, I saw her lift at the Iron Maiden many years ago. And now she's taking college classes while in high school.
Yeah, she graduated high school too early. She just took too many credits. So she's done at 10:30. So we're like, let's just get you into college. So she gets done at 10:30, and then she heads on over to the local community college and just takes some extra classes to try and save some money down the line, knocking off some of these early classes.
So amazing, man.
Yeah, she's got a 4.2 something, or her GPA is better than perfect. So I can't even wrap my head around it.
Yeah. So, well, that's good. Sometimes the apple falls far from the tree. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. So that's awesome. And, you got Wyatt. He's about to start powerlifting. It's cool, man.
So Wyatt's been training to deadlift and bench. So he's going to do a push-pull meet. He was scheduled to do one out with Rita West, and then COVID messed it up. And he's still been training. Yeah. But he's gonna, I'd love to do a meet Worlds. I was gonna say I'd love to do a meet where I can get him and Giacomo together, just because it'd be fun. It'd be cute. all those little kids running around doing some deadlifts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Giacomo's coming to Worlds. It's fun. World cool because we put the lights on. And
I was going to say that's out in December. I'm always up there for it anyway. That might not be a bad time to do it, because I love anyone who hasn't gone. I love Fort William McHenry in the wintertime.
It's so nice, isn't it?
It reminds me of The Shining without the crazy twins and all that jazz.
Without
you're on the top floor of that place, and you're like, this is definitely haunted. But then there's then there's a jacuzzi in your room, and you're like, who cares if it's haunted? I'm gonna just hang out in this jacuzzi and live the dream.
Yeah, absolutely. This year Worlds is, I don't know, I'm gonna plug it real quick because it's gonna be we have bought so much more equipment for the show end of it. We have 3 monoliths now. We got bars out the yin yang. We have so much lighting and the music. We got an actual professional DJ, and I cannot wait. I'm gonna be home, God willing. I'll be back from Somalia, and that'll be great.
The warm up room at the last meet that I did. Now I was only bench only, but the warm up room looks spectacular with the matching monos and so much extra space to warm up. So it looks, it's definitely gonna be great. Yeah.
So that's cool. I know you got Mac Navita. You guys, you got a ton of guys in there.
We do. I think we have one of the biggest multiply gyms in the country, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of multiply gyms that have over 10 guys competing in multiply actively.
Right. Yeah, no kidding. So tell me about some of your guys.
So everyone knows Magnavita. He's like my son.
Yeah.
He's the he went from being an up and comer to like just being there with me, which is cool.
Yeah.
Because I always tell people like that guy, if he doesn't out totaled me, we both failed. Like he's got to go into parts unknown. He's only 24 years old.
Yeah. I love watching him grow for the past couple of years because
that's
he was kind of just big and chubby for a while. And
so
now
he's finally listening too. And he'll get it. Like him and I used to butt heads as parents do. But I think he's starting to realize like and trust the process and realize like I want him to be better than me.
Sure.
I have every intention of him being the next guy to total 3,000.
Well, I'm sure
that's coming.
It really is.
So like, and now he's starting to believe it. And now instead of butting heads, it's like, what'd you say? I felt bad actually out in Erie because his third squat, I like sent him and I think I killed him. Like I sent the kid, he comes over to me like he does. And he's like, well, what do I do? And I'm like, today's the day, buddy. So I sent him after the 1200 and I don't regret it because the next time he takes, it'll hit it.
Yeah.
Because now mentally he's beat it already.
Yeah, absolutely. He's already done it. He's just got to go do it.
Yeah. It's next time he's just got to go. It's just got to collect it.
Yeah.
So there's Magnavita. I got, I have, let's see, we'll talk about the other 900 plus squatters. We got 3 guys chasing the grand right now on the squat. Wow. We've got Mike Garasso, who squatted 925 his last meet.
Mike.
Yeah. So he's looking to total probably like 23 to 24, which is a big old total.
Yeah.
We got this guy, Ethan, Driblet, or I don't even know how to say his last name, but strong as an ox and he's light. Like he's like a light 242. He squatted 930 or 935 out at a Metal Militia meet like a year and a half ago or something like that. Guy's going to deadlift into the 8s. He's a deadlift phenom. And just recently we have acquired a bench for him. Ooh. So like he's starting to bench into the 6s now. So you start putting those numbers together and you go 1,000, 6, 8, and now you're talking 2,400 pounds at like 242.
Yeah, that's serious.
So we have and then Jason Veach, who's been around with me for a while. Sure. He's got a 905 squat, but I've seen him hit much bigger in training. Yeah. So those are my 3 like big squatters, big total. Yeah. Guys coming along with me and Matt, and then you got Alex, shorter guy. Like he's going to bench the world once he figures it out. Yeah. I mean, I see him handle weights into the upper 8s and 900s all the time. Yeah. He bombed out of that meet that we went up that I did the 905 in. Yeah. But it was a good bomb out. Like he had a successful lift and got like your butt come up. Then he had one for like uneven lockout. So it's like little minute things that we have to work on. Yeah. But there's some future there. So, and then you always got Roy, our team drinker. Yeah. Who actually put a pretty good little total together though. He was out at Lake Erie. Yeah. He his did best meet. Best meet ever. Hit a couple of squats. Yeah. Hit a big old bench.
He's got a great attitude when he lifts too. Oh, hold on. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, so he does great. He puts, he's a great attitude when he doesn't lose his shit when he doesn't get what he needs. Yeah. He's well put together.
We always have Big Louie, who is our resident little man. He competed at 132. Yeah, I make fun of him for that all the time.
But he's strong. He's dynamite. He's a big lifts and a little package.
I mean, I thought he was going to break the 132 record going into that bench meet.
Yeah, I was
like I had seen him. I think the weight cut got him. The weight cut and the recon.
That's what he was saying. He said he lost
got him. Weight. He just had no power. Yeah. Because I had seen him.
Take a lesson. Don't cut a bunch of weight before you go to a meet because you're not going to get your lifts.
Yeah. And except if you are gonna cut that weight, like you better have a damn good reason to do it.
Yeah. And you got to be used to lifting lighter. Yeah. You got to have your equipment fitting.
Yeah. Please don't cut weight for the New York State Junior Amateur deadlift only.
At the YMCA.
Deadlift only, like whatever. Like if you're gonna cut weight, you better have a damn good reason. Because otherwise just be stronger. I stopped cutting weight back in 2017. I've never done it again. Yeah. And I'm a much happier person for it.
Oh my God. Yeah. Going in. And a lot of people don't count it that when you go ahead and you cut all that weight, you dehydrate your muscles at the core and then you rip your hamstrings, you rip muscles apart and it ends your career.
And in multiply, you got to figure out it's not the cutting weight that's the hard part. You got to put it back correctly.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want your bench shirt to go on, your arms right through.
Yep.
Because if you don't know your gear, if you don't have a backup shirt, like it adds another thing that you have to worry about. There's just one more problem that you have to overcome, one more hurdle. So yeah, stay away from cutting weight if you're a younger lifter, unless you got a record that matters. Not the state juniors, police and fire record, but like something that matters.
The submaster on the new moon.
If you don't know if it matters, hit me up and I'll tell you. The answer is probably
it doesn't matter.
The answer is probably no.
Oh my goodness.
So
that's cool. Did you miss anybody? Probably.
I mean, we got a new kid, Kyle.
Yeah.
We got a lot of lifters. And he's up and coming. He's showing some real strength out there. We got new people, Jules and Mara, who I don't think you've met yet, but they're both multiply lifters who are putting up some big numbers. So we had Anna, but we lost her down to Florida. I mean, she's still.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she got a good job. She was at the WPO. She had a great WPO. But she got a job down there in like over on the Gulf on the other side.
Yeah, man. I wish her the best. What a wonderful young lifter. She's just a great person. She's so humble and so polite and so strong. Just wonderful to be around. She's so great.
Yeah. So we got a big squad. Definitely a lot of big things coming in our future. Me taking a few months off to coach them up will probably be a good thing for everybody too.
Yeah, man. It always brings the whole crew back together and kind of, rekindles it. And
I'm a better coach when I'm not actively trying to beat on Magnavita.
There's only so many balls that you can put up in the air, right?
Yep.
And guys that are at the top of the game, their job is to win, right? You can't really be a great coach at that period of time.
Yep.
You can't really be hosting meets and shit. Your job is to go smash.
That is the goal.
Yeah. So you're doing great. And if you're going to take a break off and you're going to foster that that chapter back into really get the guys, then there's a lot to be said for that too.
And anyone who knows me, like, break just means I'm going bench only.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll be taking a break. But like, trust me, I'll be chasing some big numbers in the bench because I don't have to worry about being tired from squatting. Yeah. Really, what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to fix myself a big old bench so that I can compete with Hoff a little bit more. Because he keeps throwing out these monster numbers. Like, on my best day, I can squat with him.
Yeah.
Close. On my best day, I can deadlift with him. Close enough. But on my best day, he just benched 1047 like it didn't matter. Yeah. So like there's
and that was in a full meet too.
Yes. The ground that I have to make up to be able to play with the top dog is on the bench. Yeah. So taking some time to focus on my bench, I think is really just a smart step in creating the biggest possible total for me moving forward.
Yeah, man, that's cool. That's cool.
Chess game.
It is, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, and I think that's a great takeaway. It kind of wraps up this whole thing. It's not just going out in the platform and saying, today I'm going to die on the platform. No matter what I do, I'm going to, it's a game. It's a strategy game. There's a lot to it, The closer you get to the top, the more you realize, like, there's a lot of strategy involved. People make fun of me because I tell them the worst thing I ever did was total 2,700 pounds. They say, why? I'm like, it's hard to do again. Like, it's right. I went 27, then 27.10, then 27.15. In 3 years, I gained 15 pounds on my total. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it is. Then 27.85. But I don't count the unlimited total quite. I'm not sure how I count these unlimited totals yet. I like the shirt, but at the same time, like, my total goals are contingent upon like people that I grew up watching. Yeah. So like, I can't say like, oh, I out totaled, Andy Bolton if I do it in a band shirt. So like, I still like, it was fun. It was great. I like them for bench only. I don't know that I'll do any more unlimited full power meets. Right. But I definitely do like a unlimited bench meet or something like that. Again, I think until I knock off some of my main full power goals, you'll be seeing me learn how to bench in a poly for a little bit. Yeah. Well, you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. And if you get technically proficient in a poly and you get your weaknesses built up into their strengths, then you put on another shirt, you're unstoppable. Absolutely. Yeah. So. All right, brother, man. I so appreciate you. I fucking love you. Absolutely. Man. You were so great. It's great. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me, man. Yep. And listen, anyone who is watching, like, I am notorious for answering my messages. So I like to kick around, send me videos or whatever.
I don't mind that stuff. So I try and get all the guys to send me some things. So if you got any questions or whatever, you're not bugging me. Because everyone's always like, oh, I'm sorry to bug you. I'm like, I got time.
Yeah.
So
And it's
feel free to shoot.
You love so much. You're so passionate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, that's great. Well, I've enjoyed the hell out of this. I enjoy anytime I can sit down and talk.
Always. You get to look at me, Kyle.
Yeah, you
all
are
the
so
way from where the hell are you right now?
Right now I'm in Houston. I'm
all right, so you're right on the boat outside of Houston on the way to Somalia.
Yeah, so we're loading up 40,000. Let's see if I can see it. 40,300 metric tons of grain, and we're going to bring it to Somalia and Sudan for the starving people.
That's almost enough to feed Magnavita for a month.
Yeah, yeah. No, man, it's a great program. Food goes to people that really need it, and I love it. I love helping people, and it's really great. So I have a fantastic crew. I got 25 people on here, men and women that are phenomenal, and we all work together and make a team. It's a lot like powerlifting. I come out here, we get a team together. We all pull in the same direction, and we go to Africa. We feed a bunch of people. We come home. You know what I mean?
Go.
It's awesome. All right, brother.
Sounds good.
Anyhow, I love you. I'll talk to you guys later,
man. I'll talk to you. Take it easy.
Take it easy. See you.